Сука, я тебя уничтожу!
Buckle up, kids. This is my interview with actor, director, screenwriter, and total badass, Constance Payne.
So during
Yeah.
those hard moments was what kept you moving forward? I mean, it's always easier just to give up and acquiesce to what's going on. What was your drive to keep going forward?
Honestly, I can't really pinpoint that. There were so many times, like, looking up and being cold and alone and outside with nowhere to go and no one to turn to at so many different parts of my life. I've experienced that in every of the 10 years. There was and I was always like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be broke, alone.
Right.
How am I doing this again? And just like looking up at the moon and just telling myself it's a lot of self-hate within me. I think that's kind of motivational. I think the world is too baby these days. And I've just always beating myself up. It's like, why are you doing this? Make better choices about who you surround yourself with and what you're getting yourself into. Um, and it was really, it was a lot. It was a lot of that of, come on, we can do this. And I mean, oddly enough, it's before my second ex-husband tried to kill me, he was pretty supportive, until I told him no. Uh,
Oh, men
that seems
suck.
to be a thing. Yeah, yeah, it seems to be a thing, a pretty extreme thing there. But I feel like maybe more his support was just because he was benefiting from me and just kinda willing to tell me whatever it was he needed to keep the ride going. But now that I'm approaching we got divorced just a couple years ago, it took forever, but, I would say recently in the past few years of my life, my partner, John, we've been working together for about 4 years now, and he is so supportive. We produce a lot of films together. He's been a very odd cheerleader in my life. Like, he's like a real big muscly dude, and you'd think that he would
Right.
just be a a total jerk. And he will throw down, with anybody, but at the heart of it all, he's a softie. He actually
Yeah,
does
that's
my hair
good.
for me.
Wow. That's the extra mile. So during
Yeah.
those
When I was 12, I wanted to jump off a building. Yeah, like that was like a thing at that part of my life because I had like no love at home and school was awful. It's awful for everybody. I don't know many people that have
right.
had some perfect school experience, but it was really hard for me and then coming home and having nothing or nobody. That was, I wanted to jump off a building, and I remember standing there, and there's this little voice, like right here, and I know that sounds so weird, but I heard it. It told me that, "Don't do it. One day you're gonna be doing something great with your life." And here and there, that voice has popped up and said things to me that saved my life. I don't know what that is. I'm not a very, religious person. I'm more of spiritual. I'm not an
Mhm.
atheist either. I haven't really had time to go on that journey.
Right. But you think that listen, I think that voice has been very helpful to you throughout your lifetime. So whatever it is,
Yeah, whatever it is,
right.
whatever it is, it was working.
That's awesome. Hey, do you think that your upbringing gave you an advantage as an actress because you experienced some things that others did not growing up?
I would have to say yes, definitely, because One thing I've noticed about, a lot of actors is I'm not saying all, so please don't come for me, people. I'm just saying there's a lot of actors out there that don't have a whole lot of life experience, and I can tell when I see them, performing sometimes there'll be, like, live auditions or big, events where casting directors are all sitting in the audience and people get an opportunity to get up and perform in front of them, and I could always tell when somebody's never been yelled at in their life or
Huh.
never actually yelled at anybody either. Both those things have never occurred because, them trying to pretend to sound angry sounds so fake. It is
Right,
fake,
right,
like and that's one thing that, being an actor, it's being truthful under imaginary circumstances,
right,
like,
right, right.
yeah, so every time I'm getting a role, no matter what part that I'm playing, there is a huge part of me that's going in there. Not to the point where I'm going back in a horrible place in my head, but
Right.
I'm just, I've got these footnotes and I remember how I felt and, how I sounded, and I roll with that. So
Now,
definitely for sure it's helped.
did the acting come first? I mean, because I look at your resume and there are so many things. Was the acting the first thing that you got into?
As opposed to what?
The writing, directing and the
Okay, yeah,
forensic
that's
stuff, because that's a whole section I can't wait to get into.
yeah. So, I've always been a writer. When I first started, I wasn't a very good one. Definitely admit that, but I always scored high in reading and comprehension from the time I was young. And but I wrote some books and articles first before I became an
Oh, okay.
actor. But I owned those skills. It was a lot of reading the news. Like a lot of people ask me for writing tips, and I'd have to say that reading the news is very helpful, like actual news articles, not just opinion pieces that have news
Right.
in them, because the way that they edit those, it's all fact based. So
Mhm.
that when they're cutting things and putting it in papers or magazines or whatever, you can always cut off a paragraph at the bottom that's kind of adding more to the story, but the facts are still there and very clear at the beginning. So with that, and then, reading good books, because there's a lot of writers out there, is understanding character development and all that kind of stuff. That has definitely helped me be a better actor for sure. Like you can't just be scrolling on social media all day long and try to write something. And,
Right.
it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Was there anybody that underestimated you, and did that become motivation for you?
Oh, that happens all the time. I mean, it still happens to this day. I've had so many people when, I put all my effort because I'll go down all kinds of different rabbit holes in life, when I get interested in something. And throughout my entire life, people, would make fun of me. No, you can't do that. Or no, you aren't going to be as good as me. And it's like, I'm not trying to compare myself to anybody and I'm not trying to be somebody's competition. I'm just doing what I enjoy and what I know I
Right.
can do. And, people can either be a part of that journey or you can just go fuck off. I don't really care. And, and I still get underestimated now, but I don't really take it personally. I used to be very defensive about it and try to prove to
Right.
people that they were wrong. And when somebody wants to judge you by the way that you look, which is mostly where I get my judgment from, that that says a lot more about them, and I don't really care. And you can't really change somebody's mind if somebody is just going to look at you surface level,
Right.
and they have this look in their eye. I'm like, oh, I know that look. You could just stay over there and mind your own damn business. Because most of the time, like, people that are doing well in their lives and their career or whatever it is that they're doing, they aren't shitty to other people that are making an attempt or, actively pursuing something. That they're just not. Like, and whenever I see somebody doing something and I have any type of advice or anything that I could lend to them to help them along, I'm gonna give you that advice. I'm not a gatekeeper.
Right. Do you if you could sit down with your teenage self now What one piece of advice would you give yourself?
To invest in myself. I have invested so much time, effort, and money into other people because I didn't truly believe in myself. And, I've still had done that in the past few years of my life, even though I'm almost 40.
Right.
And I think it's only really been in the last year or 2 of my life where I was like, no, it's not wrong to put me first. That doesn't mean I have to step on anybody to get to where I'm going or try to, like, throw a stick at while they're bicycling down the street. Like,
Hmm.
I don't have to do anything like that.
As fun as that
But
would be.
yeah, right. As fun as that would be to watch, I'm not that cruel. Um, so it's just really invest in myself. And I wish I had done that back in my early 20s because I'd be a millionaire. I would.
Mm. So every actor has an origin story. What was that moment that made you say to yourself, "I think I could do this for a living"?
Um, let's see. It was my first movie when I did Icons of Horror. I had a really good time doing that. Just the entire process. I was in an acting class, and one of my classmates, they were also taking night classes for film school. And he had hit me up and he said, "Hey, my director, my teacher is putting together this fan film. I think you'd be great for the part, and I wanted to put your name out there. Can I do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So I got the material from the director and I read it and I made some notes because it was a good script, but I had a few things to add, like, oh, when my character turns over and says something shitty to, my co-star, what if I put my flashlight in his face to be a dick,
Mhm.
And I was like, and so when I talked to the director about that, he loved my ideas, all my little additions. He's like, "Yeah, I want to cast you in this film that I'm doing." And then my part just kept getting bigger and bigger for the feature, which was super cool. And, um, and that was a good moment that I had. I felt really good with all my lines. I was at a really good, place in my life at that time. I mean, shit went to hell in a handbasket about 6, 8 months after that. I started going through my first divorce, but during the time I made that film, it was a great experience and I was doing really well. So I was proud of my work. I don't even look the same in that. Like I've beefed up so much when I show people old clips of Icons of Horror when I was Rachel Cole, I'm just so teeny weeny. It's funny. So I've
Well, I
grown a
mean,
lot in a lot of ways, a lot of ways.
I like the ink too, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Is
That's
that was
been
that piecemeal? Like, did you go and just do it, or was it done in stages?
Oh, all stages. I've been getting tattooed since I was 16 years old. And,
Oh,
I would start, in one place and then it gets to the point I think, the last 10 years been getting a lot of stuff redone. I do have one new piece on the side of my calf that I got, here in Atlanta. One of the I get tattooed I can't remember the name of the shop, but it's about an hour away from here. And, there's a chick apprentice there, and she was talking about not having anybody to tattoo on for this tattoo contest at the convention in downtown, and I was like, I like her artwork, and, yeah, sure, you can do a piece on me." Nobody ever gave me any opportunities when I was becoming a tattoo artist, people always talk a good game or they just talk down to you. It is what it is, like, it felt really good to be like, "Girl, I believe in you, and
mhm,
let's go win this competition." We didn't end up winning, but we had a good time, and I got to know her, and she got to do a really big piece on my leg that's way more valuable for her
right.
portfolio than doing pieces like this big because you're new in the industry.
And you got a free tattoo, right?
No, I mean, I paid like $500 for it, but it was a good
Oh,
deal for what it yeah, yeah.
mm, I thought maybe you'd get the free tattoo because you were letting her tattoo on you for the contest.
No, no, and I tipped her like 60 or $80 or something like that.
Nice, nice. Um, Was there a mentor or a director or a fellow actor who gave you advice that really changed the course of your career, or has it always been you?
No, I would say my first director, Trent Duncan, he gave me the one single piece of advice that I did not completely understand at the time, but I do now. And it took just not just being an actor, but producing films, writing scripts, and all of that for me to fully understand the beats.
Right.
And when he explained that to me, he showed me, a clip from Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Mhm.
and it was the opening scene where they throw Harrison Ford out of the car, his hat falls
Yes.
off, and all the Nazis, are behind him, and he takes that walk around his hat before he picks it up, and he explained it to me, he's like, "If this was real and not a Hollywood film, he more than likely would never have had the opportunity to even stand up and pick up his hat. They would have already,
Correct, yeah.
grabbed him from right coming out of the car." And just that walking around to make that cinematic moment and, just the camera angles coming up and then all the Nazis behind them, when they start panning out. And I was kinda picking up what he was putting down when he explained it to me and showed me the clip over and over again, but I didn't fully register all of that until a few years later.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you portrayed action, horror, drama, dark comedy. Which genre actually challenged you the most?
Um, in what way? Like, as an actor per se? Like
Okay, that you could give me that answer.
I mean, I would have to say, like, all of those, I don't really find, like, a challenge in it. Like, if I were to say a particular challenge that I find about, a genre, it's how to make the gags work in horror,
Mm,
because we're also designing those. Like, my producing partner, John, he made one of these, he used like an air compressor and some of these PVC pipe, and then I took some cherry pie filling and I smashed it up really good because
mhm,
it's like to me cherry pie filling all mushed up. It's this perfect coagulated look for blood. It's not all
right.
soupy and watery like Halloween store blood. And, we were filming a scene where I was in my thong, only my thong, cutting up a body with a chainsaw, and so then he was shooting, so it was that "ka-ching," and then we did
Right.
the all over me. So, that's pretty much, the biggest challenge is making the gags work because before we shot that scene, he obviously was testing it, and he used a PVC pipe that was too small, and so it backfired all in his face,
Huh,
and I wish I had got that on film because all of a sudden I turned my head and he's just covered in this cherry pie filling.
that's
Um,
funny.
yeah, it was hilarious. It's great.
Do you consider yourself a method actor or no?
I would in a sense, but I'm not like one of those weird method actors that has to stay in character for the entire day or my whole life while I prepare for this film. Because while in the big, big Hollywood things, you've got all this time to prepare for a role. They'll give you
Right.
6 months, a year, 2 years. I mean, who knows? They give you time. In reality, because we have to pay our bills with regular jobs and the way that casting works, they're only casting movies like 2 weeks before they actually shoot them.
Oh, really?
Even
Oh,
yeah, even, like, full features. I have never once, and I've been doing this for 10 years now, and I've done some cool roles, had some big parts, had a lot of small had all kinds of things. Um, Everything's, like, 2 weeks before. I
wow,
think
that's
maybe
not a lot of
one
time
time
then.
yeah, maybe one time I had a month, but I didn't even get the script till a week or 2 before, or maybe when I
That's
got there. I
crazy.
can't remember. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy. Is there a role that you auditioned for that still haunts you because you didn't get it?
No, I mean, I don't get roles all the time. I mean, there's quite a few. I couldn't put my finger on it right now at this moment, but there's been quite a few roles where I love the writing and the scripts, because that's not always a thing. Sometimes I'm like, "What the fuck is this shit? Like, who wrote this, and why are we doing this?" But I do those auditions anyways because I'm hoping that, especially in the indie film community, they want input from actors and they want things to work, and the script is more of like an idea, and as long
Right.
as we're not going totally off base in our scene work here, whatever you can add to it is a welcomed, thing on set. Um, so there's been a lot of roles, I probably 3, 4 times a year, I almost go to Europe again, there's always in talks for something like that because a lot of the times, like, people, they want to do these films and they have me in mind, but then when it comes down to actually getting the funds, people promise
Right.
to give people money all the time, but when you ask them for it, it's, you know, shit tends to fall
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah. Has there been an actor or an actress that you work with that taught you something invaluable that you didn't even realize it till after the fact?
Mm,
I guess that's
not
a no.
no, yeah, I'm trying to think real hard, because I've met some actors that have, like, quite a bit of name to them, and, um they were dicks. Yeah,
Uh,
they were dicks. Not all of them, but there's been a few. I would have to say that, when I worked with Hero Fiennes on After We Collided, he was wonderful. Yeah, he
okay.
played young Voldemort on the Harry Potter series. He very charming, very nice. He wasn't creepy. He was
I
just
want
a
the
true
creepy
gentleman.
names. I want the dicks and the uncles. I
Ah.
want some of those names.
Well, perhaps another day. I
All
don't know.
right, all right.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I don't like talking shit about other people because there's some people that just think they're gods, and I'm not trying to limit myself on work just because I said something
I
bad
agree.
about somebody's friend. When I had a personal experience, it's not just like I didn't make it up. I'm just saying,
Right.
like, that person was a dick to me and or creeped on me.
That leads to another question. I always hear everybody always hears casting couch. Have you experienced that? Does that even exist, or is that an overblown Hollywood myth?
No, it's not a myth. You can kinda tell, like, I feel like the industry has changed. I've only had, a couple weird experiences, and it was before I even got to set. Like, this happened, I think it was, like, 3 years ago was the most recent experience that I had, and, this one director, I had made a movie with him before, and he was really creepy then. I mean, he didn't, like, lean into me and, like, do anything. I just got a really weird vibe from the guy. I thought he was a little odd, but we're making a horror movie. Aren't we all odd if we're doing that?
Okay.
So I was trying to give a little grace on that situation. And then the production aspect, it was just terrible. I was just in my head, I'm like, why are we shooting like this and that? And in my head, I'm like, whatever, he paid me. It's something, it went out there, cool. And then, like, 2 years after that, he starts chatting back and forth with me again about this script that he wrote, and I read it, and I got the impression, I'm like, and I write some weird shit too, but when I
Mhm.
read this, I was like, I feel like this guy is just trying to live some kinda murder fantasy that he's got, like, this is a little weird, and there was some sex scenes in it, and I'm not opposed to doing those, as
Mhm.
long as they make sense. And so I agreed to it. I was like, all right, I'll do it. I hadn't worked in a while. Um, and I was down. I get on the phone with him, and then he tells me that he's gonna be playing the lead character, which this guy's line
Aha.
delivery is so awful. And he tells me he's gonna play the lead character, and he started describing the sex scenes.
Oh my
And
lord.
in a way to where I just kinda sat back while I was on the phone, and I was like, "You do realize that I'm not actually going to have sex with you, right?"
No, maybe he didn't
And
think that, I don't know.
I just really don't think that registered with him. Like, there was, like, some heavy breathing on the other end when he
Oh
was
my
talking about
god.
Yeah, it was just really weird, and I never have talked to that person again in my life. Um, perhaps he is in prison now for murdering someone. I don't know, but
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't put that past.
So that brings you to another question. Do you have to believe in the project to actually to do it? Like, I mean, I heard you say before that you're questioning the where it was going, why it was shot this way. Do you have to be 100% on board? Do you think to get a
Well,
great performance?
it just there's so many things. So you can have a great performance, but if it's not being shot well, let's say you're trying to convey some drama and, some anger, and the director, for whatever reason, is shooting it at some bird's eye view, full frame the entire time, you're gonna look stupid. You have to
Right.
have cinematic cuts, and especially when you're, displaying, like, anger or you're crying, you want some tight shots so that the audience
Mhm.
could feel like that's part of cinematography. You're telling the story through that. So, when you break film down, as an actor, we have our jobs, as cinematographers, they have their jobs, and then editing it together. And obviously, there's a lot more departments that help make this happen, with the lighting, color correction, all the things. You have to
Right.
have the right recipe. And when you have the right recipe, it's just like a pie. If you don't, like how you're supposed to mix the softened butter. You can't put it in the microwave. Can't rush it. You gotta let it
Mhm.
soften naturally on the counter and then mush it up with the sugar. Otherwise, you're gonna get a shitty pie.
Right, right. That's a good I like that analogy. If Hollywood called you tonight, and I'm using Hollywood as a generic term, and offered you your dream role, who would you wanna play?
Um, who would I wanna play? I mean, I guess, like, I would love it to be like an action horror with some drama. So I guess basically combining all my skills together on
Right,
that.
right.
And a character that has some kind of challenge and then turns into one of those anti-hero type people.
Mhm.
That would be, like, the arc that I would like. So, you gotta have some love and some pain and some hate and then some kinda hurdle to go over, and I don't care if I were to die in the end either, you know? It's like there's some actors, they're like, "Oh, I don't wanna die," or, "I don't ever want my character to cry or have a bad day," and it's like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
Hmm.
that's why people need to connect to the movie. Like, you can't
Right.
just be the perfect person. You just go be on daytime TV with that shit.
So, you perform a lot of your own stunts, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, all of them.
Has there ever been a time where you decide, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this stunt," and when you're halfway through it, you're like, "Oh, shit. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea."
Well, I had a film last weekend where I played a stripper, and I have never spun around on a pole before. And Priscilla, sorry, my dog, go away. Uh, and, um And so I'd never spun around on a pole before, and I didn't have time to practice, but I've been in gymnastics, I'm athletic, I'm boxing and jujitsu based. I'm like, it was a quick roll. I'm something will be come of this. It'll be fine. And so I did a couple of good moves, spinning around. It didn't go completely as planned. I whacked myself a couple times pretty good. I got this wicked bruise on my hip
Oh.
because I swung around in a fashion that was not conducive to how the human body actually operates. Um, yeah, I mean, it didn't go as I would have liked to have done a couple other little tricks that looked easy while I was an observer in a strip club,
Right.
but it's actually those ladies are quite talented, and there's a lot of dedication into that, so, um oh, and I fractured my pinky, like, a month ago when I was doing a stunt fight. We were fighting on concrete, and I was fighting a real big dude. I didn't even know till the next day though, because I don't really feel pain like regular
Oh.
people. Like I might feel like it might be like, "Oh, ow." Um, and then I'll feel it the next morning, but that's how I knew I fractured it was I woke up and I felt my hand felt like Mickey Mouse, and I knew I had landed on it wrong on that concrete, but they wanted to do it all in one shot, and I wanted to do some cool moves, and so I had to do a dive onto this concrete floor and then get this guy in an arm bar, and then he picked me up and he was, like, slamming me against the floor and stuff. So, I mean, it was fun, and I don't regret it. I didn't stop anything. Oh, actually, now that I was telling those stories, I do remember. So, I and this was me, this was my bad, I fucked up. A lot of the times when you're doing these action scenes actually, I've never done an action scene where we didn't rehearse 2 minutes before we shot it.
Mhm.
Just haven't done it. And I would love that opportunity, and there'd be some way cooler stuff in my portfolio, but anyways, so I go to swing my arm at this guy, and I missed my move, and his arm took my thumb all the way back.
Oh.
My thumb touched my wrist. I
Oh.
felt it. It ripped out of my hand, and it touched my wrist, and that was the first move of the day of
Oh
a
boy.
two-day shoot. Yeah, and so I didn't say anything. I just took a deep breath, and I was like, "I need some water. Sorry," and then I stuck my hand in the ice cooler, and I walked it off. I performed the rest of the day. That evening, I was in excruciating pain, like, my shit was throbbing. It was
Mhm.
and it was getting big, and I was like, "Damn it." I know it didn't break because I didn't hear anything snap, but
Right.
clearly, I dislocated it, and this is not good. But these productions are expensive, and I'm not about to quit, and I didn't wanna say anything to anybody I was working with because I don't
Mhm.
want them to now be apprehensive about fighting me when that wasn't their fault. That was mine. And so I take ownership of that. And then after we wrapped up that whole set, I showed the director my hand. I was like, "Hey, bro, check this out." And I put my hands up, and this hand in my thumb was huge. He's like, "Holy shit, why didn't you say anything to me?" And I'm like, "Dude, you put so much money into this. I can count it all over, like I wasn't about to rain on your parade." I was like, cuz he was very happy with the footage. He was so excited and thrilled. And like I said, I there was a lot going on in my personal life at that time.
Mm.
But I
Mhm.
still always got up and I go to work the next day, and if I thought I couldn't perform, I wouldn't have taken the role,
Right.
and I did
Right.
perform.
Yeah.
I just messed up my first move.
Hmm. Alright, I wanna move away from acting and get into, yet another segment of your, varied portfolio, the writing and the storytelling. So you're also a script consultant, correct?
Mhm.
What's the number one mistake that you see aspiring screenwriters make?
Number 1,
Or if you have 10, I guess, I don't know.
I've got a lot, yeah. I'm gonna say too many characters that aren't relevant in a scene. For example, there's a script that I had gotten last year, and it was about these sorority girls in a college, and they were being terrorized by a madman. All right. Why do you have 8 of these chicks in a room in one scene and only, like, 2 of them are actually communicating? You have all these extra people. So, for me, like, because I work so much in indie, I'm also writing for budgets. And,
Right.
you know, what are you paying these people? $100, $200 a day? That's like, you're $1,000 over budget right now with people that are hanging around not saying a damn thing. So, let's cut these characters down and let's keep it to 3 because I like odd numbers, unless
Mhm.
it's relevant to have, even numbers in something. Let's cut that number down, and that way we can really do some character development on the people that are here,
Right.
and then
Yeah. Or
and you can only have a group of
maybe he was just looking for window dressing, I don't know.
I just don't think they were thinking at all because a lot of the script didn't make sense. It's like as soon as this killer madman leaves the room to go terrorize another room full of 8 women who more than half of them aren't saying anything either, there's nothing preventing these women from leaving.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Like, they weren't even tied up. It was just one of the weirdest scripts, it's stuff like that. It's just one of the and, one of my biggest things when somebody's looking to write something is when you're looking at a scene, if it's not moving the story forward in some kind of way, you don't need it. And, especially when you're writing indie films, write with what you have. So start off with a short film, do a couple of those. Don't just jump into this huge feature if you don't, have that kind of experience. Start with something short. It doesn't matter. There's plenty of a market for that out there. Festivals, getting to know each other. More
Mhm.
people to work with and everything, and then budget concerns if you got a cool house or you live in an apartment complex with a pool and they'll let you film out in the pool, why don't you just write the story around that?
Right.
Like, why are you gonna try to blow up a Ferrari in the first 2 minutes of your film and think that you could make this for 5 grand? Like, unless you want some real cheesy, now we're doing the AI thing and whatnot, but there still are limits to that. So it's really just there's so many remember the Blair Witch Project?
Yeah.
Like, that
Yes.
those 5 assholes in the woods running around with shaky cameras. Yeah, and that story was great. It was scary, and it did amazing things for the independent film industry. Like, you can make cool stories with, some pretty basic
Right.
concepts.
I'm not gonna lie, I was mad at the ending, though.
Yeah. Oh, aren't we always mad at endings? That's another thing is endings. Yeah, I like the beginnings to be a nice big bam, like a nice wake up call, and there to be some kind of element. Nah, I don't like teaching people lessons. Having like this weird lesson going on, but like a common human experience
Right.
some betrayal with the love story, like, everybody likes that.
No,
I mean, well, you don't
I
like it when
agree.
it happens to you, but we can all identify with
Oh, no, I watch other
that.
people,
Yeah.
like I like watching other people go through all the hardship. I think makes yourself feel good. Do you think that great actors are born or can they be created?
I think they can definitely be created, for sure. I've worked with some people where, um I was with them on their first movie, and I was not impressed at all by their line delivery. I'm very big on line delivery and emotion. I think even with a bad script, if you're putting, a good heart and soul into it, y it can read well. But I've worked with some people on their first movie where I was like, "Oh, good." And then I see them as they developed, and I'm really proud of them. Like, you're actually working. You're being self-critical. You're looking
Mhm.
back at your work and you're understanding what needs to change. But that also depends on who your scene leader is. So just because you're not the lead in the whole film doesn't mean you're not leading a scene.
Right.
And I have led so many scenes opposite of people who weren't good actors at all, but because I'm bringing, emotive eyes and my inflection and everything that I'm doing, it makes them a better actor. And then I've seen those people, I've had successful scenes with them, and in the same movie, somebody else is a scene leader and everything goes to shit. And like, so if you're an easily led person, and that's why they call it like leads and supporting,
Mhm.
so the lead is you're supposed to be the showstopper here and you're holding the torch for the whole movie. I've also because I've seen movies where the lead yeah, they might look good or,
Mhm.
have some character qualities about them that are serving the purpose of the story, but they're missing that oomph in the movie because they weren't as strong of a scene as a
Mm.
lead as they could have been, in
If
my
you
opinion.
it Yeah,
Okay.
okay, so then what's harder, telling your own story or bringing someone else's to life?
Um, when you say telling your own story, do you
Like, if you're
mean writing
writing
your
something that you lived through, that you experienced, or if you're gonna write about someone else that you really don't have that personal experience.
I mean, honestly, for me, it's not really that hard. Like, I wrote a book 2 years ago called A Marine Endures Hell, and, it's based off a true story, the true story of Ken Krause. He was kidnapped in, Iran back in 1979 during the Iranian hostage crisis, and he was tortured for 8 days. And then he, was returned to America and everything, and that was extremely traumatic for him. And so 2 years ago, I had met him, and it took me a year of interviewing him and going through his notes and that this whole process, and just visualizing what he was going through and writing the way that he talks,
Mhm.
and just really thinking through the story. Like, I started with the firefight of how he ended, the attack on the embassy and everything. Because a lot of, biographies, they start off with, "Oh, I was born on this dark, dreary day." And that's so boring. So I started with the firefight. And then when he was in the Iranian prison, I did flashbacks to his childhood and thinking about his father and, his mom, and telling the stories through that way, because in my logic, I feel like that's something he would have done, whether he remembers it or not completely. He
Mhm.
remembers those stories of his past, but did that happen in that order? More than likely. He thought about his family and, growing up and everything while he was, there rotting away. Um so, I guess, to me, it's easy because I'll just start writing, my notes and my scenes and, like, the ideas and the concepts, and I'll worry about organizing them later.
Mhm.
And sometimes I'll write, you know, one line of what I want each scene to be in a sequential order, and then I'll start building from there. And that's kind of what I did with The Retributionist. It's a movie that I'm writing right now. I've got a producer down in Florida, and she's like, "Hey, I wanna put some money into it. I'm an actor." And I'm like, "Alright, cool. What if I write something that is like Silence of the Lambs meets that movie Seven?"
Ooh.
And in the end, and for the killer, we make that, like this witch, who is like a taxidermist witch type of person. And I don't wanna give away too much, but, super proud of that movie. But that's kinda how I wrote that. And I mean, as I continue moving along, I'm keep developing things on my own, things that work for me, and not everything that works for me is necessarily going to work for somebody else.
Right. What do you enjoy doing more? The writing, directing, or acting?
Honestly, I love the combination. I do. Uh I love the combination, like with the directing aspect. I would like having a good strong director there, strong director, cinematographer, and then I like being able to engage in some extra thoughts and ideas,
Mhm.
because it's just a lot easier than trying to make everything happen, calling all the shots, and then jumping in the camera and being someone else. I've done it successfully, but like I said, I'm a very self-critical person. So I
Mhm.
would like to know what me making my own production and just being an actor feels like.
Mm. What's the one misconception that people have after reading your bio about you?
I don't know. I don't think anybody's ever told me. I think I think people probably get a different idea after they read about me because I think just seeing stuff online, like pictures, like me smiling, me looking pretty, doing my makeup and doing fun photo shoots and being an actor, they get this there's a misconception that my life is perfect and it's always just been so amazing. And
Mm,
like that is the furthest thing from the truth. Like I have built this world for myself and the people around me, and I've fought tooth and nail to keep it, and I will fight to my death to keep my peace in it. Like, I
mhm.
absolutely will. Um, so I think that's just, people being surface level type, she's cute and I guess I look
Yeah.
like I'm still in my late 20s or early 30s, and, I think the voice gives it away a bit, but I don't know. People don't like happy people these days.
You're right. People do not like happy people. What does success mean to you today compared to 20 years ago?
Success to me today, I'd have to get back to you on that in a couple of years. Cause like I said,
Okay, you got more to do, yeah.
I've got more to do, and I keep telling, my people around me, I want one solid year of just being able to focus on myself and not having anybody else's bullshit. I mean, I could deal with, a lot of things. That's just life, but as soon as I can't really go into certain details about some of the things in the behind the scenes of my life right now, but I'm just over people trying to fuck up my world for no other
Mhm.
reason other than being jealous and
Right.
hating me for my happiness. I don't know what else to say.
Mm,
It would be great if I could go, a couple of years without somebody that I care about dying. That would be
mm.
awesome. I watched 2 people die, in the past month and a half, and that
Oh my
was really
god.
yeah. It was,
Were they sick or was it sudden or
no, well, I mean, shit, I just watched Garland die on Monday just a couple days ago. He died right in front of me at the hospital. It's, John's uncle, his uncle and his aunt. They're elderly,
Mhm,
or they were, but, 80 years old, been together 40 years. Rebecca started getting sick like a year ago. And so, we'd go over there and visit her, and I'd go over there, and then she was in and out of the hospital, was back on home health care, and then it was very apparent that she was dying. So I helped take care of her in the last couple weeks of her death because I couldn't
mhm.
afford the home health care people. And I watched her die. And then on this last Monday, Garland was in the hospital and, we knew he was dying, thought maybe he had some more time. And he was talking and then he just like had a heart attack.
Wow.
And then the doctors tried to save him for about 45 minutes. And that was very difficult to watch. It was just, I'm glad that we were there and he
Right,
didn't die alone in the hospital because that's, nobody wants to die in a room full of strangers. So that's the only comforting thing. But like I said, it it's an acceptable death. It wasn't like when my son
right,
died. My
okay.
son died when he was 16.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, so that was really hard. That happened 14 years ago, a week before Christmas. He had a brain
Oh,
aneurysm. He was running around the house and then just boom, he
wow.
was dead. And, so, yeah,
Oh my god, so sorry.
I appreciate that. I mean, it doesn't get easier or anything like that, but I've
Oh,
learned to live with it.
I can't imagine that it would. Sorry, I'm sorry I made you say that. I'm sorry, I apologize.
You didn't make me say anything. I said it because we were having a conversation. We're talking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I still gotta get up
Alright.
every day and go to work, like
Alright, so let's switch gears, and for me, and this is not a knock on acting or writing or directing, but when I saw that you're a forensic cleaner, that really piqued my interest. So, without
The
getting too graphic, what's the biggest misconception people have about forensic cleaning?
um, what's your biggest misconception about forensic cleaning?
I mean, it's not like CSI and Dexter, right? I mean, like, from the Miami, you guys, if I have it correct, you guys come in after the cops are done with the crime scene,
Mhm.
and you get rid of it all, right?
Yeah, yeah, so it's that, and then do you know that show Hoarders?
Yes. Oh, you clean places like that
So,
too?
mix those 2 things together, yeah,
Oh,
and
lord.
yeah, so it's like there's a whole lot of hoarding going on, and I would probably have to say it's like 60 to 70% hoarding and 30% crime scenes, and those 2 often collide
Oh my god, is
into
the hoarding worse than the crime scene? Because I used to watch that show.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty.
Oh, yeah, and it sucks when, like, somebody blows their head off in their hoard because now it's
Oh.
really, really everywhere. Um,
I have to ask, how did you get into that? Where did that avenue shoot up?
well, so this house that I'm in right now, this house that I bought, the lady that I bought it from owned a forensic cleaning company, and, I'm a friendly person, we're just chit-chatting and all that kinda stuff, and the home buying process takes a little while.
Mhm.
And and then she called me up one day and she was like, "Hey, I'm having trouble finding some good employees and I know you're a go-getter. I follow you online and you're kind of fucked up." And I just started laughing. I was
Did she
like,
really say that?
"Yeah, she did." And I was just laughing. I wasn't even offended, because she's not wrong. And she's like, "Do you wanna come, give this a shot, see if you like it, if you can handle it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." And so the first job I was on, this it was a guy who had died in his, like, townhouse, and he had been dead in there for 3 months. He exploded
Oh,
in the bathroom, and so I could smell him from, like, 2 blocks away as I'm pulling in the neighborhood. It was awful, and, like, 3 months he stayed here, and there's, like, mail just spilled out of the mailbox. There's, like,
and no
tape
one
with him
said
the
anything for
grass.
3 months.
Nobody said anything! Nobody said anything, or
That's
like, "What is
crazy.
this smell?" Like, they probably were smelling him all around this neighborhood within a week, you know?
Right.
It was insane, and so, yeah, that was, pretty horrific cleanup, ripping out the bathroom on that, did the whole shebang, and, uh, and I took a break, and, I was
Hmm.
just like, when I get into something, like I said, I just get into it, and then I took a break, and I ate my sandwich,
Oh my.
and then I went
So
back to
so
work.
so when you see on the TV shows, like, the coroners are eating a sandwich right by the dead body, I mean, that happens then, I guess.
Well, I mean, I went outside. I didn't eat
Oh,
it
okay.
inside, but yeah, I washed my hands, I wiped the sweat off my face,
How did you
and
know you
I
were gonna be good at that, though? Like, you didn't, right? When you went into it, you just said.
No, I have a construction background, and I was also a tattoo artist in my early 20s, so I know all about, cross-contamination and,
Mhm.
all that kinda stuff, and between that and knowing how to properly, do an install and and taking out, like, it's not hard, you just do that with bunch of blood, body goo, and
Oh,
shit,
boy.
and pits, and,
Oh. Yeah,
kicking
not
teeth
for
out of
me.
drywall.
Not for me. You're not still doing this, are you?
Oh, yeah, I got a job tomorrow.
Oh my god. Do you know what it is?
It's actually a higher end hoard, but because there are those too. So I'm not sure what it looks like in there. Every time I get a heads up that, oh, it's not that bad, you go in there and it's
Mm.
it's totally awful. And then every time they're like, oh, It's so bad, it's so awful, and then I go in there and it's nothing. It's like,
Mm.
it's really weird. So and pictures never do anything justice. It's really like that full experience on the inside of what the hell is going on today, and how do you live like this, or
Yeah.
what happened here. Um,
Do you
I've got
think you're
some games that I like to
desensitized?
play. Huh?
You ha
Oh,
wait,
fuck
wait, you
yeah.
play games? Wait.
Yeah, I got a game called, Maggots or Rice, and so it's because sometimes you just don't know, especially after, like, let's say you've been sweating your ass off for 8 hours straight.
Right.
Are those maggots, or is that a spilled bag of rice?
Now how do you
Like,
figure it out? You don't try it, do you?
no! Oh my god, ew, that's so gross, dick. Ew, you're dirty. No, you just get real close, and, sometimes it's been really, really questionable because, after 8 hours in the heat, did
Right.
that move or did it not move? Is
Mm.
it rice or is it a dried up maggot? So weird. Or I'll play, Time of Death with other people that I work with. We'll go into a scene, and we won't know anything about it, and I'm like, "Alright, you got 2 minutes. Go in that room, take a look around, take a couple sniffs and whiffs, come back out, tell me how long you think that body was in there for before somebody called it in." And,
Wow.
I'm really good at that game. My buddy Frank still owes me tacos.
You know, there was a TV show about that called The Cleaning Crew.
Mhm. I haven't
I was
seen
gonna
that one.
It was pretty good. I don't think I finished it, but there has to you never thought about writing a script about that? Because, I mean, you have the personal experience. I mean, just that whole banter about the games that you play, because they didn't do that in the show. I think that would work.
Yeah, I mean, if I got, I probably would. I did do one short movie 2 or 3 years ago that had a little bit of a forensic cleaner concept in it, but it was more of a drama.
Mhm.
It had some drama horror elements in it. Um yeah, it just comes down to time. Like I've got probably 20 scripts, short ones and features on my computer. Every time I start getting into something, then something pops up and I
Right,
gotta go
right,
and do
right.
that. And then I'll get another movie or somebody's like, "Hey, I got the money to make this movie. Can you clean up my script and act in this?" And now I'm on that mission. And then I'll
Right,
get a
right,
phone
right.
call that somebody blew their brains out again. Um, so that's
Wow.
kinda like my life is just this rolling with the punches. And I mean, which is I'm not complaining.
No, that's
Uh
why I have you on the podcast, Constance. I mean, come on. I read that bio. I said, "I gotta talk to this woman." Okay, so now when did the training facility come into? I mean, it sounds like I'm talking to 5 different people with all the things that you've accomplished and that you're doing. I mean, you own and operate an 80-acre weapons and tactical training thing in Georgia. How do you
Yeah,
find the
yeah.
time? How do you find the time?
Well, I haven't been there in a little bit. I was actually, working with John and, uh, we're doing some rebranding. They told me the new name. Right now, it's the Shadow Group, and,
Oh,
they're doing some
that sounds
rebranding
like a
right.
movie.
I know, right? Yeah, I might make that the title of my movie since we're changing it from the group's name. But we've got a few, congressional people that we protect, and, we do a lot of weapons training. I was actually just sorry, I'm all over the place now. Like, you mentioned that, and, there's, like, 10 things that we're doing with that area of business, and I was talking about half of that today. But yeah, so we're doing some rebranding right now and we're going to have some new classes coming up. I've got posters and everything already. We've got our new lesson plan that we're moving forward because we're trying to do something because right now we're based on training other guards and other people that are in protective services, and I'm trying to incorporate more actors to come in so that people can look better on camera when they're doing these roles.
Ah,
'Cause we were, just working with a group, uh, like a month or 2 ago, and they hired great looking actors who had 0 weapons skills, and, that's fine if they were gonna do some basic type of things, but We're doing, like, full-on tactical movements, clearing rooms as teams. Um, there just wasn't enough time. I mean, they looked great by the end of it, but that
Right.
was most of our days were spent training them and correcting them, and y'all should be not doing you shouldn't be doing this on set, you should be doing this off set, and then coming to set being prepared.
Right.
And so I'm wanting to market that more towards actors, and, we actually
'Cause
got oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that was my follow-up question. Who is the clientele? But you answered it. So it that's where you wanna pivot to, or who are the clients before the actors?
Well, mostly people that are in protective services, so you're always doing
Okay.
training, you're always got ongoing training, because being a protection agent is different than being, like, a bouncer at a club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's totally different, and so if you're a bouncer at a club and you wanna make more money and protect higher end, level people, then you need more training, and so
Right.
it's a lot of room clearing, understanding asset protection
Could
and,
I sign
some
up if I wanted to? Like, I mean, is it open to the
I mean
public?
yeah, if you wanted to. I mean, we'd have you at a beginner class, but, I mean, it just depends
Yeah,
on what your skills look like in that, and then, get all your basics down, making sure you've got, a good grip on everything, and,
right.
like, I think the last time I was at the range was about a month and a half ago, and we were practicing drills where I'd have a bunch of different magazines, and some would have 3 bullets in it, some would have 2, and then there'd be 5 in another one, and so we were shooting targets. We've got 3 people coming at us, and I'd have to shoot until I was out and then practicing my, reloading and everything like that, and moving backwards, moving with the assets, and it's
Mhm.
just about that muscle memory, so if something does happen, we can, identify the threat, take them down, and get the asset out. Because it's not
Wow.
about, like, this big firefight, pissing match, and saving everybody in this room. I hate to say it, we're only here for this guy,
Right.
like, or
Right.
female, like, this is the person that's writing our check, and so we've gotta get them out, and, somebody
I mean,
else
that has
deal
to
with the
ruin
rest.
TV shows and movies for you too, right? How many times you're watching something, you say to yourself, "Well, this is bullshit."
Oh, yeah, but, also chalking it up to Hollywood magic, because some of our guys, they come from some top tier, like, forces and stuff like that, and we'll get them into some films, and, we start choreographing a scene, and they're like, "Well, everything looks good except for this one thing, this is not how
Right.
we do it, this is not how," and it's like, well, there's a reason. So we need to see your face for camera. So normally, yes, you would be doing it, but we need to see your face for camera.
Mhm.
That's part of the movie magic of it. And that's just the way it is on camera.
Yeah. So you've worked in environments that where you literally have seen humanity at its worst. You even dedicate yourself to telling those stories. Has that changed the kind of stories you wanna tell because of what you've done?
I guess I would, it doesn't, I've always incorporated those types of things in some kind of way in my movies. Sometimes they're more prevalent, and throughout the whole thing. Sometimes it's just a moment. Just
Mhm.
depends on my mood and what I'm writing.
And how about all the things that you've accomplished in your life? What is it that you're the most proud of? I mean, again, it's all varied and it's all very impressive, but what for you is the most impressive thing that you've done?
Um, getting my brother for, a 1,000% getting my brother. My immediate family is blind. They have, a congenital birth defect called nystagmus, and
Mhm.
so they can't drive. They see about, like, an inch from their faces. That's, my mom, my sister, and my brother, and,
Wow.
yeah, and I just wasn't born with it, and, so my brother had it real hard time growing up because our mom was denying that he was blind. which I know sounds fucking insane, and it's because it is. And,
To
so
what end, though? Like,
to what
why
end?
was
Like,
she
my
doing it? Yeah.
brother oh my god, like, that's a long story. That is a long story. If you got another hour, we can go into that one, but my brother didn't start walking with a white cane until I got him 3 years ago. My brother is
Wow.
43 years old. And my brother was so blind that he can't drive. So he would just be sitting in his room like the whole time we were growing up. And he has autism, and he was just the weird kid. And, so as bad as high school, middle school, all that was for me, it was 10 times worse for him. And, I lived with this guilt of, when I was in high school and I got tired of my mother, I could leave because I could see to leave. My brother was trapped. And, and he was basically trapped his whole life, and I
Mm.
didn't know how bad it was because I wasn't living in the same state, so I didn't visit, you know what I mean? There was a few times, in the almost 10 years that I've been an actor before I had, got him into my care. There was a few times that, I was going to shoot a movie in his area. He was living in Austin, Texas, and something fell through with funding or whatever, and I didn't, because I was, "Oh, yay, I'll go see my brother." And he's like, "Yeah, you could come crash on my couch," and, I knew he was lonely. I didn't know my brother was being completely neglected by my family. So, bringing back the forensic cleaning aspect of it, when I did go get my brother, he was living in a ghetto shithole. There was bugs everywhere.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, and just this shithole of a neighborhood, and my brother had been working, 2 jobs and only sleeping in 3-hour increments because he would have to walk,
Right.
like, an hour to go to work, and then he'd get to walk an hour to come back, take a little nap, and then go to his next job because my family didn't get him on any disability.
Mm.
So, and if you can't drive, that and there's no public transportation, that's extremely expensive. Like, you don't have the same opportunities as other people do in the world, and because of the economy, I like, my brother was stocking fucking groceries in,
Mhm.
and just totally not. My brother's so much smarter than that, and, he was doing what he had to do, and he just wasn't complaining about it. My brother really didn't talk before,
Mhm.
and I knew he had some autism and everything, but I thought he might be, like, a little more, like, mentally retarded or something, like,
Mm.
I was just like, "I love my brother, I gotta get him out of there," and so I would always be building my life up to try to get a place for him to come stay with me, and our family would block that. Our family would
Hmm.
block that, he was just so manipulated by these people, and then when our father died, um, I was finally able to, convince my brother, "Just come over here, the water is fine," like, what do you and it took about 6 months before my brother really started talking. Like, my brother talks to me all the time. Like, he's definitely got some autism, but
Right.
he's fucking smart, you know? Um,
That's an
and
awesome story, Constance. That's another script you should be writing from I mean,
well, some of that is in The Retributionist, actually.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't tell you
I mean, that's
which
awesome.
but yeah, but the lead, the FBI agent who, my producer's playing, she looks after her blind brother
Okay.
in that movie. So there's like I said, there's certain elements that are in it that are true, and there's certain things that aren't true that just
Right.
are there to
Right.
help tell the story. But yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what goes on or what I could ever accomplish. That is the greatest goal that I've ever accomplished because I had been working to do that since I was 16 years old, and it took up until 3 years ago. Like, I
That's
fucking worked
awesome.
up 20 years, and,
That's awesome.
I didn't give up. So and now my
That's
brother's living
awesome.
his best life.
There you go. Something to be very proud of. What's the difference between Constance the actor and Constance the person?
Constance the person, I think, like, I don't know, that's hard to answer without more context because I would think that, like, a lot of people, they they see what they see on
Right,
Facebook, and I do photo shoots, I travel a lot for work, I do movies, I make movies, I'm always filming all of that experience. I've got a lot of hobbies, I make my own clothes, I do forensic cleaning. I'm always, my whole
right.
life is out there. And then at the end of the day, it's when I finally do sit down at about 9 p.m., it's me and my dogs. Like, I don't have a bunch of people over drinking and partying. There's not like nobody knocks on that fucking door, and I like
Yeah,
that, like, I'm a very as much as I am a very public on my Facebook, I'm a very private person, and, in my life, I have a
right.
quiet home. I like my silence. I think it's because everything else in my life is there's so much chaos, controlled chaos,
Mhm.
in my life and in my work that I enjoy my silence. I enjoy my snuggles and like when I play a lot of characters that talk shit and punch people in the face, and then and some people they'll just take that and think like that's who I am. And then when they meet me, they're like, "Oh wow, you're really nice." It's like, yeah,
There you
I'm
go.
a person, Yeah,
There you
I'm a
go.
person. Like
Alright, so let's end it on some fun questions. Enough of the serious stuff. If your life had a soundtrack, what's the opening song?
Mm, oh man, I was actually just while I was taking a shower this morning, you know that song, "We're Broken People Now." I'd have to look up who sings that.
Okay.
But,
I'll look it up and put it up in post. I'll put it up, the name of it in post. Alright,
yeah, because
zombie apocalypse. You're allowed to have 3 Hollywood actors on your survival team. Who you
Woody
picking?
Harrelson,
Whoa.
yeah, he's a first. Woody Harrelson, on my apocalypse team, let's see, who, Rodriguez, that female,
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah,
Hispanic
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know her
Michelle
first name.
Rodriguez. Yeah,
Michelle
Michelle,
Ro
right?
Vincenzo just told me he got it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, Michelle Rodriguez, she seems like a cool person that would have your back, and, let's see, who else? I feel like some of these questions you should have texted me first so I didn't look like a fool
Nah,
on
I
your
like it
show.
fresh. I could edit
Yeah?
that the pauses I'll edit the pauses out. If you come up with the
Okay.
3rd name, I'll put it up there.
Let's see. I think the 3rd I mean, like, Gina Davis.
There you go.
Yeah, I think she'd be, badass and throw down, and she's got that big smile.
Yeah,
She was
no,
one of my
good
first favorite
answer.
actors, like, I in that movie, The Long Kiss Goodnight,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
that was a movie that helped shape my view of acting and storytelling.
There you go. Yeah, she's good. I watched her have sex with a 25-year-old in the Netflix show The Burrows. Did you watch
Oh,
that?
wow. I did not.
It took place at a retirement community where they old people go live, like an assisted living, and she was 70 something and she had sex with like a 25-year-old.
Well, good for her.
So look that one up.
I will, I'll have to see that.
Uh,
She's
Coffee
sagging
or
and
whis
still bagging.
No, no, she looked good too. Whether it was all I don't know if that was all camera angles, I don't know what it was, but
Who
yeah, she
cares?
actually
Yeah.
got down she took I'm not gonna go into that, but you watch it, it'll be
No,
good.
I wanna watch it. I wanna watch it. I wanna see some action.
Coffee or whiskey?
Me, coffee.
Okay. What's the
I'm a Black
strangest
Rifle
prop
coffee.
what was
Sorry.
that?
I said I like Black Rifle coffee. I drink my coffee black, no sugar, no cream, no nothing.
Oh, I
Straight
can't
up.
do that. I
Mm.
can't is that why you call it Rifle or is Rifle the brand?
It's a brand, yeah.
Oh, okay. Never heard of that.
Yeah, they're, a group of military guys,
Oh,
yeah, that
so
that
it's
make
what they
that.
drink. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Strangest prop that you ever had to use?
The strangest prop. Hmm. I had to make a dead head one time, but I don't really
Okay.
consider
That's
that
odd.
strange. Um,
You had to make it
I
yourself?
almost well, yeah, I made it I took a mannequin head and I distressed it, and I cut, like, its bottom jaw off, and, like, I
Oh,
put this
okay.
weird tongue and, like and all that, and then I glued some more hair to it because it came from one of the hair colleges, so all the hair was cut off, so I glued a new hair wig to it, um, and that was fun. I almost, got to hit a guy in the head with a giant dildo,
Oh,
in a
there well,
movie,
there
but
you go.
yeah, that would have been fun. And I've wanted to write that in one of my scripts ever since then because the project got canceled last minute, but I was so looking forward to that moment because they had the most obnoxious dong, and I just thought that was funny, because it was a
And that
strip club scene, so
right.
it all made sense, to me.
It makes sense to me. What movie, when it comes on TV, that you stop and watch a little at least 10, 15 minutes of it whenever you see it come on?
That movie Aliens. I love the Aliens movies, and every time I'm traveling for work and I put on TV, one of those is on, which is pretty
Okay.
cool.
What is your one guilty pleasure that would surprise people?
My one guilty pleasure. I don't know. I mean, I like macaroons.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I like
I
them.
like macaroons too.
I mean,
All
yeah,
right, now
I go pretty crazy for them.
uh, I'm gonna give you 2 choices,
Oh,
you gotta
wait,
pick 1.
sorry.
Oh,
I've got a
go
thing
ahead.
for belly buttons. I've got a thing for
Oh, there
the male navel is something to be admired. Like,
wow. Innie or outie, though?
Christ. Innie. I mean,
Has to be
it's
an
gotta
okay.
be a nice itty and, good shape. Like, the whole rest of you can look fantastic and all of that, but you know what baby wants to see? She just wants a little peek of that belly button.
Oh, that's exciting. All right, horror or comedy?
Horror,
Sunrise or midnight?
midnight,
City or mountains?
mountain,
Books or movies?
books,
Dogs or cats?
dogs.
Stunts or dialogue?
Oh, now you got me.
Hmm, hmm.
I mean, it's gotta be both.
Okay,
Talk shit and kick some ass.
there you go. Sweet or spicy?
Spicy.
And what's the last TV show you binged?
Man, oddly enough, I don't really
That's
watch a
what I
whole
thought the
lot.
answer was gonna be. That's what I thought the
Yeah,
answer was gonna be.
it's been a minute because it's like I'm always working on something, so at the end of the day, I might put something on TV just to have that noise, but I'm working on my computer. I'm, like,
Right.
writing something or, just, catching up on emails and messages. I get a lot of messages.
I'm sure you do.
And we have a lot of projects because as I'm always wrapping something up, I've got to start getting things scheduled out for next week, next month, next
Mhm.
quarter, and all of that. And then everything can change and things get put off or put somewhere else.
So, when it's all said and done and your career is over, what is the one thing that you hope people remember about you?
Me, that I wouldn't take no for an answer, that I never gave up and I put out good work. That would be the thing. It's like, you can't say that I don't.
That's what the tombstone should say.
Yeah,
Can't say that I don't. I like that.
can't say that
Now
I don't.
you've accomplished so much from producing, writing, and everything. Is there still a mountain that you wanna climb? Something that you have in the distance that you wanna do before it's all over?
Yeah, I want, like, so I've always, tailored my own clothes and made, some of my own clothes, but I would love to spend a couple of months, just sewing and designing a really cool, not just a line of clothing, but, like, if I were to put up in a room, like, 5 mannequins and some dresser just stylized, 5
Mhm.
fashions with the handbags and, all the whole look, and that's what I'd like to do.
Alright, and before I let you go, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to tell the people out there that you want them to know about Constance Payne?
No, actually, I really enjoyed your interview. There's a lot of times I get asked very basic questions that can be totally answered if somebody were to just look at my website or, a couple scrolls on Facebook or any type of social media. But I really enjoyed it talking to you, and you got me to say some things that aren't very common. So I think that was cool.
Oh, that's I appreciate that compliment. Now, what's coming up? What do you got going on that you're working on now? I know you said you had a shoot coming up.
Yeah, well, I had to cancel this weekend's shoot because Garland died, but we're gonna put that back on schedule here very
Okay.
soon. That was a horror movie. It's like a horror comedy called The Blockbuster Dudes. And so the manager of the Blockbuster store, he gets cursed by a witch who's really angry that he wouldn't take off her penalty fees, and and she curses the horror movie section, and then the horror movie characters start popping out of the movies, and he's gotta figure out a way to stuff them back in before they continue terrorizing the world.
Wow, that
So
sounds awesome.
yeah, yeah, it was a concept by my buddy Jose that we've been talking about for a few years, and, and I told him I'd produce it for him. He sent me some ideas, we worked on a script and, got the location set up, and, like I said, I gotta move some things around, but it's gonna be fun. I've got that. I've got a TV show coming up for, one of the Murder Channel networks. I'm playing a role in that next week. And then there's a movie I'm shooting up in Philly next month. See, there's a lot of things I could say. Oh, I'm shooting this, I'm shooting that, and I can give you the genre, but I can't really. If it's not
That's
my
fine.
project, I can't tell you any more about it unless they say I can, and they usually say no.
Hmm.
But I booked and worked 7 roles in the last month and a half.
Wow. That's
There was
awesome.
1 week that I had that I worked, an action film, and 2 horror films, all within a 5-day period.
Wow, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah, it's been an unusually busy month, which is great. Gonna, try to enjoy my weekend.
Yeah. Well, listen, I wanna thank you for taking the time to sitting with me. I'll put all your links up throughout the broadcast for people where people can find you, put up your IMD page, and if there's anything that any pictures or anything that you want me to throw up during the interview, you could send them to me, 'cause
Okay.
I'll work on the post, this weekend, and I'll get it out next week, alright?
Alright, yeah, I'll send you some pictures tonight before I go to bed.
Alright, thank you so much. We'll see you next time, Constance.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure, Dick, anytime.
Alright.
Я ее нашел.
Окей, давай.
Слушай, я хочу все деньги сейчас. Целую зарплату, блядь. Сука, я тебя уничтожу!